Hello guys, and welcome to another vlog. And I'm doing this early in the morning. It's not even quite 8 o'clock yet. Just took my daughter to school, and I'm getting ready to take care of stuff for the day, which is usually pretty lazy stuff. Paid a few bills. I'm going to have breakfast, watch some YouTube for a little while, probably play some Gary's Mod later, and maybe try to knock out another movie or two today. But who knows, and that's not really important. I just wanted to vlog about a couple of things this morning, a couple random things, because the last few vlogs that I've done have been those I watched the movie, here's my thoughts vlogs, and I didn't want that to be all that these vlogs were. I mean, they never intentionally were supposed to be. I've done plenty of vlogs just talking about my life and my thoughts. So I wanted to get back to that with this one, especially because I'm going to do something today that I've never really ever done before that involves this thing right here. This, I want to call it glorious, but I don't know that it qualifies as a glorious beard or not. It's just a beard. All these grays. But I've had probably, 6 months worth of videos that I've put up, plenty of vlogs, plenty of other videos that I've done. And I'm sure that people who've watched any of my stuff on a regular basis have seen just what kind of a cycle of facial hair I go through. Goatees, beards, maybe some variations of that, maybe nothing at all. Although it is a interesting fact to note that since I was probably about 15 or 16, I've had facial hair of some sort almost the entire time. Like, I don't ever I spend more time with beard than without. If I do cut it all off, it's usually just to kind of refresh, kind of reset. Because a lot of times, like this, I shave down here. I don't like for there to be massive beard length and growth all the way down into my neck. So I trim it underneath, and as this gets longer, it gets a little harder to see it down there, but I still trim it up a little bit. Sometimes I do the beard where it's kind of the thin beard, the chin strap kind of thing, I guess, that meets up with the goatee. When I was in high school, I did the goatee without the mustache, and then I would also do sideburns that would come down about yay long. And I couldn't do a full beard back then because all of this in here, kind of between the sideburns and the goatee, once it got out to be a certain length, I would just feel it all day long. I could feel that there was something on my face. It was like a discomfort, or I think it was skin being dry, because my dad clued me into a fun fact that worked for him, and he was like, try it and see if it works for you. He said, use Noxzema skin cream. Get yourself a thing of that, and either when you're clean shaven, or once you've got a little bit of a beard going and it starts to bother you, just put that in those areas that it's bothering you. Well, I knew that Noxzema was a good cleaning, product, facial cleaning product. So I just went ahead and bought a thing of the Noxzema, and then I just put it all over my entire face, including the areas that were affected. There was even times over the years where I used Noxzema as a shaving cream. I would put it on my face, and then I would shave in the areas I wanted to shave for and use it instead of a shaving cream or gel. And it worked really good for that too. But I kid you not, 2 or 3 applications of the Noxzema on my skin when, in those areas where it was like really irritating me, and it was gone. And I mean, it was gone. I never once felt any of that irritation in those areas since then. Even, and this was in my 20s when my dad told me about that. So we're talking like 10, 15 years now. Just a couple of applications took away any of that irritation. Now, I continue to use Noxzema from time to time, but I haven't done it in years now. Probably 2 or 3 years at the max. But anyway, fun fact, if you're a guy and you want to grow a beard and you get irritation in some parts of the skin, put some Noxzema on there and see if it changes that. And anyway, so I've always been beard of some sort, goatee of some sort, sideburns or whatever. But I want to try something different today. So this is sort of like a before video, and if it works out well, I'll have an after video. But I'm going to shave off this area down here and have the mutton chops slash the Wolverine chops. And I'm going to, like I said, I'm going to do it here in the privacy of my own home, see what it looks like, see how I feel about it. And then if I hate it, I'll just shave the rest of it off, and it'll be one of those times when I'll be clean shaven for a little while, and then I'll just grow the beard back in. My fear is that you can't really see this at the moment, but I don't have much of a chin. It's part of the reason why I think I've gravitated towards facial hair even before I started losing the hair up here. I mean, this may still be somewhat of an overcompensation for the fact that I've lost the hair up above, but I started growing this long before I had even thinning hair. And I think it's just a compensation for the fact that I kind of have one of these somewhat round faces, or maybe a little bit of an egg-shaped head and face, and so I go with the hair down here to kind of elongate a little bit, and it just, I don't know, I just like it. So if my massive lack of chin makes the mutton chops look all that worse, then it'll just be gone. Anyway, enough ranting about that. What was the other things? There were two other things I was thinking about yesterday. They're gaming related. I'm going to start with this, the mouse. I need a new battery for my wireless mouse. And I switched to a wireless mouse earlier this year because the corded mouse that I had, that cord winds down and back to where the computer is. Like, my mouse is here, my tower is over here and down below in my computer desk. And that's where it's supposed to sit. And even though I'm a left-handed guy, I mouse with my right hand. So it sits over on this side. And every mouse I've ever had, the cord has just been enough to kind of get to where it is. Maybe that's the biggest problem, is I need a mouse with a longer cord. But I just got tired of having to pull it back every once in a while. And when you're trying to game, playing Gmod, playing WoW, playing any of these other Steam games, you don't want to be fussing around with your mouse while you're trying to play. I don't play anything super serious enough that I'm worried that a mouse is going to ruin it for me. It's just an annoyance. So I was playing Gmod yesterday, and I happened to mention in the voice chat that my battery was dying on my mouse and I couldn't move. And they were like, "Oh, dude, that's why you should go wired. Wired is, for the win. Wired's the best." And I was thinking to myself, man, I got rid of wired because it was such a hassle. The only hassle with this has been, that the battery's wanting to die. I don't have an issue with latency and all that kind of stuff. I move this, it moves on the screen. I've never had a better mouse or a better experience with a mouse since I got this cheapo little Logitech. This is just an M185, probably like a $15 to $20 mouse, and it's been great. But a lot of gamers just love wired, and I understand the wired aspect of it. I mean, all my internet in my house is wired. I don't do wireless. I don't like wireless for that. But for this mouse, I love it. I've even thought about going to a wireless keyboard as well. But I don't know. I guess I'm just curious what anybody may think about the mouse and keyboard and wireless stuff. And keep in mind, like I said, I'm a gamer, but I don't hardcore game, no competitive stuff. I'm not going into situations with people like in a raid on WoW where people are counting on every last person to pull their weight, and issues like this would cause them to be upset with me. I just casually game, but I have fun with it, and if I'm in the middle of a gaming session and I'm fussing with a wire or fussing with a battery, that's annoying. The other thing I was thinking about the other day, it's also a gaming issue, and it has to do with not just necessarily Xbox One and PS4, more Sony and Microsoft and Nintendo, like the companies, and the fanboyism that's out there, the people who are loyal to one or another, which I think is fine. It's just what I hate, and a lot of people have ranted about this. But people hate when people just come along and they're like, Sony sucks, Microsoft for the win, Microsoft has all the best games, Sony is horrible. Now, the new debate going on right now is frames per second. and also resolutions. This is part of why I'm so pissed off nowadays with current gaming, because everybody's so obsessed with all this high def stuff, all this graphic whoring, and I know that a lot of people will just say, well, that's just something to say when you don't have the best. If you're not dealing with a high-powered PC or the best on the consoles, and obviously it's not going to make any difference to you. No, it doesn't make any difference to me, because I was perfectly happy playing games on my Super Nintendo and my PS1 as I am playing on games today. I'm not concerned about frames per second and all that. If our gaming technology has gotten to that point where if things don't run at a certain frame rate or a certain resolution, then it's not going to be good, then the gaming industry needs to get its head out of its ass and fix these things. These whole stories that I'm reading about, like the game companies, like Sony and Microsoft demanding that all game companies lock their games in at a certain thing instead of making one console's version a little better, is stupid. But I'm not, like I said, I'm not into that aspect of it. I don't really care. I hate when people come along and they're like just dissing the other console that they don't have, or the other consoles that they don't have, simply because there's some sort of a fanboy of that console, and they won't show any respect to the other consoles. I have, from the last generation, I have a Wii, a 360, and a PS3. I love them all. They all have their benefits. They all have their exclusive consoles, or exclusive games for their console. And of course the Wii has its benefits, although my attraction to the Wii is not the motion control thing. I think I've mentioned this before, but I got a Wii because I picked up one that was still backwards compatible with GameCube games, and that's what I wanted. I wanted a Wii console that would let me play a few of the Wii games that would interest me, but I also wanted to be able to play GameCube games because I have a library of them and I don't have a GameCube to play them on, and I also wanted to tap into the homebrew thing so I could play games from all the old consoles too. But that was still what I liked about the Wii. It had a benefit to me. It had an advantage that I jumped on. I bought a 360 first because at the time it was the cheapest console I could get. It was $200, and after some deals at Walmart, I was able to get it for $150. I didn't get my PS3 until I think it was 2 years later, just because I had a nice tax return, so I was able to put $300 towards a PS3. But I wanted the PS3 because things like Uncharted and the upcoming The Last of Us. At the time that I bought it, it was, we knew that Last of Us was coming out, and I was like, I'm on board. And then once I had the PS3 hooked up and I was playing it, I was like, this is going to be my console of choice for games, because anything that does online, like GTA Online, I can do it for free through my PS3. So my focus shifted away from the 360, but the 360 still had exclusives that I was interested in, and all the games I had bought for it, I was not going to just repurchase them for the PS3. That would just be dumb. Now, of course, the 360 is my console of choice again because my PS3's HDMI output went out, and while I did say earlier that graphics are not, the most important thing, playing GTA 5 and online in nice HD quality and then stepping it down to like AV quality, it makes a big difference when it comes to like shooting people, sniping at people. But I still go and play GTA Online despite the fact that I have a graphics downgrade. It's still playable. But I still now go with my 360 because I can watch those games in better quality on my television. So maybe that says something about my statement before. But I haven't seen the differences for Xbox One and PS4 when it comes to the frame rates and the resolution. I doubt that the difference between them is the difference between what I'm seeing on my TV, which is probably a difference between 720 and 480. But anyway, I don't know. I worked with this guy at Walmart for a while, and he was a big Microsoft fanboy. And I'm going to call him a fanboy because it was very rare that he would ever give Sony or Nintendo any kind of props for stuff that they did. The occasional comment about how this game looked really good, too bad it's only on the PlayStation 2, because we're talking about that far back. Um, like he was just all, why would you ever game on anything else other than an Xbox? It's got the best, specs under the hood. The games look much better when you got them to compare between the two, which I'd seen a few. I didn't really think that it was all that much better. Incremental differences don't really seem to mean shit to me, I guess. It's a major difference. It was like if watching games on the Xbox compared to their PS2 counterparts was the same as, say, watching a game on the PlayStation 3 and the PlayStation 1, then you'd be talking. But Microsoft just had the advantage of coming out later than the PS2 and the GameCube, so they knew what to do to make it better. The same way the PS3 came out a year after the 360, Sony made it better. This time around, they both came out at about the same time. Yet, if you really talk about the stats and the specifications of it all, PS4 is a little bit better. But see, for me, I want a PS4. Well, I say I want a PS4. This is fantasy purchases here. Armchair quarterbacking, so to speak. If I were to have one of the new consoles, which I've already said I'm not going to spend the money on them, but if I magically were to be given the choice, I would pick a PS4 because of its exclusive stuff. Any, like the new Uncharted game, any possibility of a new Last of Us if they decide to make a sequel, which I hope they don't, but if they were to, it'd be on the PS4. When I think of Xbox exclusives right now, I think of Halo, don't care. I think of something like Titanfall, don't care. The only thing that would be tempting, it would be any future Fable games. I've never really played the Fable games, but I kind of like them. But if I got a PS4 and then the Xbox One came out with something that looked cool, I would be like, man, that looks really cool. I'd like to have one of those. I wouldn't be like, suck it, we got all the better stuff over here. And that's what my point is trying to be made. The point that I'm trying to make is that there are way too many people out there, and they're probably usually kids, but there's some adults who are just like, fuck your console, mine's better. And they either feel that way under like in their own mind they're thinking the same thing, or maybe in their own mind they're like, man, that's some cool looking stuff that other console has, but I gotta be loyal to my console and talk shit on the other one. And that's just it's just pathetic, it's immature, it's dumb as hell. Embrace everything, and if you can't afford another console, that's fine. Buy for, play on, and love what you have. But don't diss the other people, the other console, or the people who own the other consoles just because you can't have it, or because you're some over-enthusiastic loyalist fanboy. Alright, well, that's all I really wanted to say. Blah, blah, blah. I'm done. Gonna go have some breakfast. I'll see you guys later.